sleep after years of sun. Was I awake? When did the cold all come? Didn't I feel? Didn't someone tell me I'd come?
Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. It's been a minute since I've been here on YouTube land. There's a reason for that. Simply because it's been pretty dry out there on my online searches. Nothing popping up of interest, and only have 4 LPs to share. Even though I will go kind of deep into these. Yeah, May has just been a pretty dry month for me. So we're going to dive into some obscurities. Picked up a couple really nice items since I've been gone, and you have seen one of those that I picked up on my unboxing video. And also recently something kind of cool happened. Just this past Thursday and also this weekend there was citywide garage sales, and I happened to find this couple who moved to my small town, and they kind of operate in, well, they were previously dealers from Oklahoma, and they just happened to move here to be kind of closer with their kids, and so they're kind of selling records at this garage sale. It was just a really nice visit. Had a really great time. Came out with one item though. They kind of specialized just primarily in just classic rock, but there were some cool items there that I left behind. But certainly, they certainly had pretty good business. I think it had a good turnout, and so let's dive in. Stop keeping here too long. So I'm gonna probably show the garage sale find last, and it's kind of a cool item too. But we're gonna start off with a banger here. So if you guys remember my video I made kind of later last year, I think it was like September, August maybe, I made this. Some of the biggest finds on my Discogs want list, and this one has been on there since like my very first few days on Discogs. This is one I kind of wanted to seek out, and ever since I put it on there, I've probably only seen this record in particular probably pop up maybe 5 times at the very most. It's pretty seldom that you see copies popping up. And I saw this was newly listed. I saw the price, and I was saying to myself, this probably fetches for more for the right person, so I had to pick up on this. And this is Horses, self-titled, on White Whale. It's a promotional copy, and this is the record you saw in the unboxing video. I know Dom has a copy, and I was very jealous seeing that. It's probably the first copy I've seen in the VC on a video. And so this band was kind of originated, I believe, out of San Francisco area, and it featured like the lead or rhythm guitar player from Hardwater, and I think the other members would later go on to Bob Weir's Kingfish. They would, I think, majority of the players, maybe 3 or 4 of them did. And so this record in particular is not necessarily all psychedelic. You could say it's from the psychedelic era because it came out in '69, but primarily this is kind of more rural-based country rock with some class, and it's got some folk rock elements coming through as well. Very, if you love Buffalo Springfield with kind of like a harder edge to it, maybe, I would say that's kind of a good recommendation, maybe. It's just, there's so much classy writing going on here, and it's, when I say country rock, it might turn a lot of people off, but this is a nice obscurity that you just, you find a lot of neat surprises, sprinkled within. Lots of tracks like Cheyenne. A lot of tracks on side 1 are really strong. Nothing at All kind of reminds me of Badfinger a little bit. Birdie in a Cage was the song I featured in that unboxing video. So yeah, it does have like some pre-power pop moves as well, I noticed. It's, like I said, it's got that kind of harder edged pop sound, but with that kind of rural flavor, and there's probably like only one weak moment, Horseradish. It's kind of like an instrumental, rickety bar band kind of song, kind of blues track, but otherwise this is pretty nice. Asia Minor's another big highlight. It's like one of the more heavier tracks off here. So kind of one of the more obscure items, kind of like, well, probably the most obscure one would be John's Children with the album Orgasm. I've never seen I may be seeing it pop up once or twice, but that's a pretty scarce one. Then on to this one. This is another one again. I've added this onto my Discogs want list, on and off several times throughout the year. And I could just never, in the last couple years, I noticed a lot of copies aren't popping up with this one. And it used to be kind of like a $15 to $30 record, depending on condition. And this may have been one of the more cheap thrills in the Acid Archives, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but certainly a cheaper album back in its day, maybe 15 years ago. But like I said, the last couple of years, it's been hard to track down in that comfort zone. I finally found one under $30, and this is Mike Condello, Phase 1. This would be his only phase. This is on the Scepter label. And I think he acquired these backing members from like the Phoenix, Arizona area. It also features like the drummer that would later go on to play with the Tubes, which is another Phoenix band. This is fantastic. So with this particular record, this one may take a while to grow on you. The flow, I would say, is very inconsistent. Not a very good, consistent flow of different styles, but there are a lot of different pop psych styles and a couple heavy moments on here as well. Very Beatles-esque, very Beatles-heavy, probably due to the fact that, Mike Condello was very much into, like, even before this album project, he was doing, like, a lot of satire and portrays of the Beatles, and a lot of that influences come through here as well. So yeah, very Beatles-esque. Trying to think of other like highlights or other people of note, but Beatles are a heavy influence on this one. My favorite tracks, Oh No, and probably on side 2 is the big highlight for me, Dr. Tar, Professor Feather. Very Beatles heavy. It's got these like weird distorted phasing effects going back and forth with the drums and some of the vocal delays. Really cool record. Psych Essential, maybe not, but it certainly has its trippy moments, and just a lot of like pop styles. And this record kind of reminds me a lot in the way of like a lot of those singer-songwriters trying to cash in on the hippie era, with their lone albums. So yeah, it's one to check out for sure. Okay, and this next one, this is one that popped up on eBay that I had been looking for a while, but not like, on the hunt for severely or anything. But this is one I've always kept in the back of my mind saying, if I see a copy cheap, I'll pick it up. And this was a sealed copy, and I did a unsealing of that. I only posted it to Facebook, but I figured, there's probably not much fan base here on YouTube for people to know, but this one never gets talked about, and it's kind of an interesting curio of songs on here. So this is Denny Ezba with his tax scam release of Green Grass of Home, and I don't know if this like image, it might be just a stock image of like a golf course on the the edge of the ocean or something, but yeah, it's on the Crazy Kangen label, and I think they were specialized in a lot of like bootlegs or tax scam releases. And Denny Ezba has a kind of a cool history. He was based out of San Antonio, and he would play with people like Mike Nesmith before the Monkees. And he had his band Denny Ezba and the Goldens, and also went by And the Gold. And I think a lot of these tracks are, I'm not for certain, but I think they were recorded around the same time frame, like maybe late 60s, early 70s at the most. And most of this is covers. They got tracks like Dimples and Backdoor Man, Everyday People. A lot of cover versions, a few originals too. And this is kind of a mixed bag of like really heavy fuzz psych, but also and kind of like fuzzy blues psych, I should say. Be more specific. It's a lot blues heavy, but the blues on here is awesome, I think. Very tight musicianship, really cool grooves on some tracks, and nice fuzz tone. Especially the second to last track on there. What's it called? Absy in the Blues. It's probably the biggest standout on here. It's the instrumental track. And a lot of this record to me, if you guys like the Animated Egg or any of those Jerry Cole projects, this reminds me heavily of that sort of vibe. It feels very much like a Custom Records or a Crown Records kind of adventure on this listen. So yeah, I picked it up sealed and I unsealed it. And it turned out to be okay, so has a slight dish warp, but nothing too severe, so I'll get a shot of the label there. Yeah, I recommend it for people into, like, I think another good reference is like Sir Douglas Quintet. Very much inspired by that. So since they were from the San Antonio scene as well, I think they toured together at one point. So, and this came out in '78, so much later than it was recorded. So don't let the late date fool you. This is definitely from an earlier time. So kind of one cool pickup. Then the final one here. So like I said, this couple moved to my small town, and they had a lot of classic rocks selection, you know, and I couldn't really find too much. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe I should pick this up because something's telling me this got a little more value to it. And this was like around 15 bucks. And you know, they're asking for dealer prices. It's not like any dollar bin at a garage sale or anything, but I figured, you know, for the condition this is in, this has got to go for more, right? For the first time on Psychedelic's channel, the Yardbirds, with their album Over, Under, Sideways, Down, which is basically the US version of the self-titled, or else called Roger the Engineer. This came out in '66, and honestly, this is the last one that I had not listened to by the Yardbirds. So, and I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for this, for me saying this, but honestly, I've had a really distaste for the Yardbirds music. Not to say that they're, you know, a bad group or anything, but just for my personal taste, for what I'm looking for, they just never offered too many good tracks for me. Of course, I like Shape of Things, and I think it's the track Glimpses off of Little Games, the instrumental track, but a lot of their stuff, I just did not care for the rhythm and blues, the British blues scene. It's not for me. So I just kind of steered clear away from, you know, albums like this and the previous one, Rave Up. But I have listened to them, but probably just listened to them once or twice because I was like, you know, why do people like this band so much? Even though they have great power, it's just, I guess it's just a personal thing for me that I just could not get into them. So I took this with a grain of salt. I said to myself, you know, if I don't like it, I'll probably flip it. And just look at the condition it's in. It's got the hype sticker. And this is a mono copy, by the way. No, I said hype sticker. It's the price sticker. Get a shot of it there. And the record does have a few light scratches, but it is a beauty. It is in beautiful shape. Get a shot of it there. See the sheen off of it. And these are probably hard to come by in good shape, I've heard, so pretty stoked to have this for like a comfortable price, you know. So pretty undervalued. So anyways, when I first listened to this, you know, the track Lost Woman, I said to myself, this kind of sounds familiar. And I heard it off of James Gang album, Your Album. And so I was familiar with that track, and I don't know if that's, I never found out, is that their original track? Guess it doesn't say. Must be an original track. But then I heard the title track off of here, and I was like, man, this has got some really nice, thick, acidy guitar going on. And so I was kind of impressed. And then the next track, I Can't Make Your Way, Hot House of Ahmad Garashid. Yeah, just every track, and Turn Into Earth, and then the closing track, Ever Since the World Began. I was like, yeah, these are some good tracks. And for '66, for this to come out, having those like kind of predating a lot of common psych traits, this was a surprise listen. So I'm going to be listening to this for a while because it was very listenable. And I have to say, it's probably my favorite so far of what I've heard by the Yardbirds. And kind of makes sense too, because Jeff Beck is probably my favorite of the three involved with the Yardbirds, of the three notable ones. So pretty cool, and it was a very cool pickup. Yeah, so I'll try some Yardbird stuff. I think they have like a live album that a lot of people praise, so I'm gonna be looking into that one too, and some archival stuff, I think. So I'm kind of a Yardbirds newbie, but I've heard enough to the point where I'm just like, okay, this is kind of boring for me. I don't know. I shouldn't say that, because I know there are a lot of fans out there. I'm more of a pop site guy. So anyways, that about does it. So it was a very good day. Kind of talking with them and getting to know some dealers here in my small town in Nebraska. It's not a very common thing around here. So yeah, about does it, guys. So don't know when the next update is. I only have one other record coming in the mail. I was thinking I was going to make the video when I would get that in, but with this garage sale find, I just figured, had enough to stop on by and do a little update. So thanks for tuning in. See what else comes next, and we shall see you soon.